Hello and welcome to Tour Talks, and in today's video I'm going to be running down the top 10 football club badges for the 2024-25 season, and let me tell you, there are some absolute crackers in this list. Some you may be familiar with and some you may not be. Now, this list isn't official, it's based on my opinions only, so you may not agree with everything what is on this list, but it is your lucky day, because there is a comment section down below where you can comment how much you agree with me or how much you despise me. So, without further ado, and in no particular order, these are my top 10 football club badges. First up on the list, we have got Sheffield FC, which is the world's first football club. And this badge just absolutely screams heritage. It's very classy. I love the golden outline, which not only goes around the shield but also follows the two players at either side. And I absolutely love the fact how the two players are completely different. Now you'll notice the one on the left hand side is wearing a flat cap and carrying an old school ball, obviously in reference to the founding fathers of Sheffield FC, whilst the one on the right is in reference to a more modern player. But it's just a great design all round, and I can imagine it's one of those badges what players are proud to wear. Now obviously there's a contrast in the club shirts, what both players are wearing. One's wearing red, one's wearing blue, and I'm just wondering if that's in reference to Hemel FC, obviously founded not long after Sheffield FC, and played many of their early games against Hemel FC. So that could be a subtle little nod to their old-time rivals. And if my assumption is correct, is this the only club badge what references another football team on the badge? And next up on the list we have got the only Premier League team what is included in my list. And of course it is Crystal Palace. And this one only just scraped into the top 10. And there is a reason for that. And that's because I prefer the eagle on the old Crystal Palace badge. This one, it's just a little bit too Americanized for me. However, on the flip side, I prefer the palace on this badge. Obviously the structure, what gave the club its name, it's unfortunately no longer with us. It was destroyed in a fire in the early 1900s. But the palace lives on the badge of Crystal Palace, and I really, really like that. And it is a very good representation of what the building looked like. It's very accurate, yet they've kept it quite simple. And it's quite a task to simplify such a complicated structure, such as the Crystal Palace. So, well done to Crystal Palace for giving a great visual representation of what the palace looked like. But aside from the palace, it's the banner for me. It just flows so well with the rest of the design. It's just very, very nice, easy on the eye. I love it. The only letdown, as I said before, the eagle is a little bit Americanized for me, but we can let them get away with that one due to how good the design is overall. And next up on the list, we've got Bootle Football Club. And this design, the colours clash so much, but it works very well. And that stag looks very menacing. And we see a lot of clubs sometimes failing to make animals look scary on their badges. But yeah, this one just looks menacing. And I really like that. But this is a very recent redesign of the club badge, and I really like how in most situations a lot of clubs would have just gone for the stag and had that as the club badge, but they've gone to the effort of having that as a centrepiece and having the other little elements such as the crown and the banner underneath. I think it's just a great badge. The colours contrast but fit so well together, and obviously that centrepiece, the menacing stag, it's fantastic. So well done to Bootle Football Club for what is a great design. And next on the list, we have got my sincerest apologies to Newcastle United supporters, because it's Sunderland, and this is one of my all-time favourites. I don't think anything will take this out of my top 10 ever. It's just a fantastic design. There's a lot of different elements going on, but every single element is very important. Obviously the Black Cats, the club's nickname. Inside the shield, you've got two of the city's most famous landmarks, one of which is the Penshaw Monument up in the left corner, which overlooks Sunderland. Obviously, them two landmarks are bound either side by the famous red and white stripes. But my favourite part of this badge is right at the top. It's the mining wheel with the red and white ribbons coming from the top. Obviously, mining has got a very long history in Sunderland and the surrounding area. In fact, the Stadium of Light is built on the former site of one of the biggest collieries in the area. So the mining wheel is just a great finishing touch to this badge, and also looks back at the heritage of Sunderland and its fans. Up next, we've got Willand Rovers FC, and you will be forgiven if you've never heard of these. They play in the Southern League Division 1 South, and this badge is just mental. It's bad, but in a good way. This looks like a pub sign. It looks like it should be on a post outside a boozer. There's just that many elements going on with it. It's absolutely bonkers. And because it's so obscure, you're just not sure what it's referencing to. I can see a runway, a motorway. It's got 3 lanes on each side, so I'm assuming it's a motorway. Down that neck of the woods, potentially the M5. I'm not sure, but it looks like a motorway to me. And then we've got a river, a factory. I'm guessing there must have been some industry in Willand. And a cow. They must like cows in Willand. This badge has got absolutely no right to be on this list. It's just absolutely mental. But I love it. And I think it's great in a weird and quirky way. So you keep doing what you're doing, Willand Rovers. You keep championing motorways and cows. Next up on the list, we have got a badge what doesn't have any cows. But it does have a floodlight pylon, which I absolutely love. Is there another badge what's got a floodlight pylon on it? I don't believe so. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below. But it's just a really unusual aspect on a badge. Obviously the factory, I'm guessing there must have been some heavy industry in Braintree. But I'll be honest, it's just that floodlight what does it for me. Just that uniqueness of having that there. The only downside to this badge is the football. It just looks very clip-arty. I'm not a fan of that. If you swap that out with a traditional ball, I'd be absolutely over the moon. But that ball is, just a little bit too clip-arty for me. And I was wondering, when they were designing this badge, obviously if you take that floodlight away, it would look quite lopsided, too heavy on the left-hand side with the chimney from the factory. So maybe this design didn't have the floodlight originally, and it was only afterwards when they looked at it and thought, it's a little bit lopsided. What can we put on the other side to give it that bit of symmetry? And a floodlight was the answer. And it was a great answer, because the result's great. And next, we are back in the Football League with Bristol Rovers and their pirate what is on steroids, because it's got absolutely no right to be that big on this badge. If anyone else was designing this, the pirate would be much smaller and fitted into the centre of the badge. And it shouldn't work, but it really does. It really, really does work. I love the colours, obviously, in reference to the club's kit. But that pirate is just phenomenal. And I do believe that the club were looking at a new club badge, what still included the pirate's face, but no longer the big towering pirate on steroids. So, I'll be honest, I hope they keep this design. I think it's very unique. The only issue for me is the football. I don't know what's happened. Has it been deflated? I don't know. But it's, a little bit lopsided. But it's fine. It's fine. Just fix the football and keep the pirate on steroids. That's your assignment, Bristol Rovers. Up next, we've got Hemel Hempstead Town. And, well, it kind of does what it says on the tin. The club's nickname is the Tudors. And that's because the town has got links to Henry VIII. He stayed in the town a number of times, and I believe it was something to do with some sort of royal charter he gave to the town, or something along those lines, but there's a heavy connection with Henry VIII and Hemel Hempstead. So that is why we see his face on the club's badge. It's quite often we see crowns on club badges, but very rarely full portraits of a former monarch. It's a very simple design, but a very good one at that, and it also references the town's heritage as well and its history. So, thumbs up from me. And now we move on to Lincoln City. And this little guy, he's very interesting and very scary. But he's in reference to a very small stone figure inside Lincoln Cathedral. And as someone who has seen it in person, I can tell you it's very difficult to find. But it is there. Now, the Lincoln Imp has been a feature on Lincoln City's badge for quite a number of years. But recently it was redesigned to depict the figure more accurately. And it's a great job. It really, really does look like the stone figure itself. Truth be told, if you didn't know the history behind it, you would think that a 5-year-old had drawn this club badge. But it is very significant to the city of Lincoln. And this is definitely one of the strangest badges you will ever see. And last up on the list, we've got Boston United. And this is probably the most simplistic badge on this list. But I think it's the colour scheme for me personally. I think a lot of these kind of badges, with this colour scheme, it would have been favoured to go for a black outer ring with orange writing to match the inner circle. But I just think the white really, really makes it a bit different. Makes that centrepiece really pop out. And I don't know why, but this badge just absolutely screams 1970s, 1980s to me. And I don't know why. Was this badge designed in that time? I've not done much research on any of these badges, if I'm honest. But it just really, really screams 1970s, 1980s. So if you're a Boston fan, you'll be able to tell me. Drop a comment below. But it's also just a very timeless design. I don't see any reason why Boston should need to change their club crest for the next 40, 50, 60, 70 years. It's a very simplistic design, but it does the job. It tells the story. So that's it for our list. Let me know in the comments below, what's your favourite one? Which ones would you take out? What's your personal top 10? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next Tour Talks.